Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story comes from a throwaway account, and it says, my 27 female boyfriend, 28 male, is obsessed with my ex, 27 male. We've been together for 2 years, and before this, I would say our relationship was very close to perfect. At the beginning of the year though, my boyfriend and I were at the grocery store, and we bumped into my ex and another friend. This was the first time they had ever met each other. We made polite conversation before going our separate ways. My boyfriend made a sarcastic comment about how nice my ex was when he was out of earshot. I didn't think much of it at the time. A few weeks after this, I noticed he was on my ex's Facebook page. When I asked him what he was doing, he shrugged it off and said he was curious because he saw my ex had commented on Luke's, a mutual friend of ours and my ex's, post. He since friended him on there and claimed my ex was the one to initiate it. He followed him on Instagram and Twitter too. He comments on a lot of his posts too, but my ex rarely comments back. He also somehow got Luke to invite him to my ex and his friends' weekly virtual hangouts. I mentioned I found it weird that they were hanging out, but he dismissed it and said it wasn't a big deal. He also started talking about changing his career path to do what my ex is doing and make snide comments about if his dad paid his way for him. He could take me on fancy trips too. He's also become incredibly passive-aggressive towards me and makes comments about how if my ex didn't move abroad for a few years, we probably would never have dated. If I say no to anything, including sex, he comments about how he bets I wouldn't say no if my ex was the one asking. He also got really sulky when he realized I still had a gift my ex gave me. Yesterday, we had a massive fight over it because I wanted to spend time together, but he ditched me to go hang out with my ex. I got so upset I told him he might as well date my ex instead. I don't really know what to do now. He's given me the silent treatment and I heard him tell my ex what I said, which is really humiliating. What can I do to make him stop hanging out with my ex? Nah, that kind of behavior is hugely concerning. Social media stalking, inserting himself into your ex's friend group, the passive-aggressive comments, especially like using your ex as almost like a weapon against you when he was saying stuff like, I bet you wouldn't say no if your ex asked. This is all about his insecurities and the fact that he's given you the silent treatment while also running to your ex to tell him about the fight. Weird, man. And it's not like the behavior is getting better either. It seems to be almost escalating. It's getting worse. I'd be really interested to know what the ex is thinking of this. Has he noticed any of this pattern of him getting involved? Because, you know, from his perspective as well, I'd find that pretty fucking weird. But yikes says, red flags all around. It sounds like your guy is deeply insecure and channeling that insecurity into loathing. He's already taken it out on you, manipulating you, pressuring you in the bedroom, even attempting to turn your seemingly amicable ex on you. He's pushing your boundaries and his demands are impossible. Nothing you do will fix his insecurity, and so he will continue to lash out and demean you. I know because I have been there. This relationship sounds nothing close to perfect. I sincerely hope you distance yourself from him and get some perspective. Best of luck. Crystal says, sounds like his mindset of your ex is like, no wonder OP dated him. Look at him. He's all these great things. And he's trying to hang out with him because he sees a lot of what he strives to be. That's also kind of seeing him as a role model at the same time. And quote saying, if I say no to anything, including sex, he comments about how he bets I wouldn't say no if my ex was the one asking. Then says he's clearly jealous of your ex, yet still forgets that an ex is an ex for a reason. Maybe sit down and explain to him why you and your ex even broke up. Another commenter said, oh hun, no, this isn't healthy. I'm totally having flashbacks of the movie Single White Female. If he's not responding to you when you confront him, then I think you should give him the ultimatum, you or your ex-boyfriend. If he chooses you, hard boundaries need to be implemented, with the first being he can't be friends with your ex. Shake my head. How would he feel about being besties with his exes? He would definitely not like it, so I don't understand why he can't understand that. So it was 3 months after that post that OP came in with an update and says, after my last post I tried to take the advice in the comments and suggested couples counselling, and I asked my boyfriend to cut off my ex. But he got angry at me again. He claimed I was the one who needed therapy because I had jealousy issues, and that my ex was one of his good buddies and I couldn't dictate who he was friends with. Then a week later, he had another hangout with my ex and his friends where he proceeded to very loudly tell them how I was so insecure, and I was trying to tell him who he could speak to. My ex and Luke had to tell him to stop, which he didn't like at all. I should have just broke up with him at this point, but I was stupid and still clinging on to the hope of my boyfriend coming back to how he was. After this happened, my boyfriend was constantly making jabs at my ex and Luke, but then he would still contact them and pretend to be friends with them. Then he became super interested in what my sex life was like with my ex. He was constantly asking me who was better between the two of them, and he would ask me if I had done this or that with my ex. I kept telling him I didn't want to talk about it and to stop asking me. I then find out from my ex and Luke that he'd been asking my ex directly the same questions, and that he had been bragging about our sex life to his friends. My ex said he was telling me because my boyfriend made a comment about loaning me to my ex if he ever felt like recreating old times. That was the final straw for me, and I broke up with him and moved out. My now ex-boyfriend didn't take the breakup well. He went on a smear campaign. He even contacted my family and my ex's family to tell them we were apparently having an affair and that he had no choice but to break up with me. It's been almost a month since we broke up and he keeps getting new numbers to text and call me. Deep down, I think I knew this would be how things ended. I'm sad about the relationship I thought we had ending, but now that I've had space away from my ex-boyfriend, I feel much better, and it's like a huge weight has been lifted from my shoulders. A commenter asked OP after this, was this whole ordeal completely out of the ordinary, or was he a little nutty before? Honestly, sounds like a mental illness. OP says it was out of the ordinary. I didn't notice any red flags before this. Ugh, the loaning out comment in this was absolutely vile. And it just proved that the ex was getting a bit weirded out with this whole situation, stepping in to warn you about these conversations. But I wonder what else he was going on about in the background. It sounds like OP dodged a massive bullet in this situation, but also should continue to be vigilant because you never know what someone like that is like. They've already shown the escalation to this weird ass behavior. Who knows where else it could go. So there was a lot of comments, telling OP to document everything, block every new number, and don't engage at all. And, maybe even consider getting authorities involved if it continues to escalate. But what do you guys make of this situation? Gee whiz. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Potential Mammoth 673, and it says, am I the arsehole for saying no to my friend for the art they gave me? So, about 10 months ago, my friend gave me 3 little artwork pieces that they thought were really ugly and they hated. I absolutely adore them and I think they're very pretty, so I have them in my living room, and so I redecorated my living room and rearranged everything so I could have these paintings in a very specific spot. One day they were over and one of my friends that they have yet to meet until that day was over as well. My other friend who did not give me the artwork looked up at the art pieces through Google Lens because they also liked them and wanted to get some for themselves. That friend found out the artwork that was given to me was worth $1,000 per piece. And I said, wow, that's an insane price. So the friend who gave me the art pieces told me that I needed to give them back to him. And he started taking them off the wall. And I said, absolutely not. You gave those to me. He started yelling at me because I wouldn't give them back. Then he said I better pay him $3,000 for all of them. And I said no, because you gifted them to me almost a year ago. So he told me that he was gonna call the police, and he left because me and my other friend kicked him out. Am I the arsehole for keeping them? Limp Idea says to OP, not the arsehole. Where did your friend get them from? Sounds like he wasn't aware of the value. OP says they were gifted to him the same month he gave them to me. OP, when told to give them back, OP says the The thing is, I really love these art pieces and they were gifted to me. I changed a bunch of my furniture to match these art pieces. My whole entire living room is basically centered around these art pieces. I gave him my $2,000 couch because I wanted to downgrade the size. I wouldn't even think about asking for it back because I gave it to him. Now, the majority of the comments on this one were just like, absolutely not the arsehole because he gifted them to you. Well, some people were saying, gift them back, just be done with it, etc. But there was also another comment that said, not the arsehole, your friend is for pricing your paintings though. That felt somewhat inappropriate in my opinion. Then within the same post, OP adds a first update and says, so, funny thing happened. The other friend who priced them also looked up something they also gave me and realized the price of it. So both of these friends are wanting their stuff back. So today, I'm planning on just giving them the art pieces and the other items that they have both given me over the past few years. It's really disheartening to have to go through this, but dealing with this drama is worse than just redoing my living room and getting rid of the things that they gave me back to them. The friend who looked up the price of what they gave me and said they were just lending me the items, even though I've written proof that they were given to me. So both friends are going to be acquaintances from now on. Life's weird. That is weird. I mean, Reddit brain is going off like mad at the moment and thinking, was this some kind of setup from the beginning, bringing people round to, they already had a hint that the value was more than they was expecting, that they somehow discovered the true value of these items, but I don't know. Another update says, so another funny thing happened. Both of them met up to go hang out because they both made me the common enemy. I did give back the other things to the second friend, but I do have the artwork pieces due to me, giving them a couch around the same time that was worth around $2,000. The artwork is being appraised currently. One of my siblings, friend's girlfriend, appraises artwork. A weird lineup, but we're figuring that out now. She came and grabbed the pieces about 11 AM today. For some reason, I feel this art is not going to be worth $3,000 in total. Honestly, life isn't worth this stress, so I'm going to take it as a loss and move forward. A week later, an OP says they've been appraised, and this part is actually funny. So the relative of that friend who gave them the art pieces is the one who made them. The relative copied a style from a different artist and recreated the pieces from that friend. The relative signed the back, and when the person who appraises the artwork told me the artist's name, I laughed because that's the friend's relative. Lol. I let that ex-friend know that the relative created the pieces for them. I told him since they were made by his relative, I would happily give them back. After I said that, this ex-friend said I could just throw them away because he didn't want them anymore. Since I had no value money-wise to them, they did not care. So technically, I have 3 art pieces that are priceless. Anyway, I thank their relative for creating these pieces because without these pieces, I would never have known the type of people I was friends with. And I'm just going to read this top comment after this one because I thought it was pretty good. It's from Heyo Meatballs, who says, the real thing that was appraised was the friendship, and it was found to be worthless. And I mentioned this before in a previous post, but when I was younger and lived on a council estate across the road from us, there was a more, well, to us at the time, we called it a more posh estate. Lovely people over there, don't get me wrong, and this particular person that I'm talking about now, I call her Jane. We used to help her in a garden in the summer, and if she needed things move into a car, etc., we'd all help out with that, But sadly, one day she passed away, and we heard the story of her relatives coming in and, and splitting the possessions, etc., etc. But no one wanted to touch her artwork, and there was this particular painting that was on the wall just behind her front door, which apparently was gifted to a friend of hers as like a memory kind of thing. And eventually it turned out it was worth around $500,000. And there was a big ruckus about the family wanting to get it back, and I don't think they ever did get it back in the end. But that was a wild time. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Round Choice from the Am I the Arsehole, Would I Be the Arsehole public subreddit, and says, Am I the arsehole for refusing to let my friend crash at my place after he roasted my apartment in front of everyone? Alright, this might sound petty, but I feel like I was justified. I, 26 male, have a small 1-bedroom apartment. It's not fancy, but it's clean. It's mine, and I worked my ass off to afford it. Like, IKEA everything, but I got a gaming setup I love and a little fake plant that's absolutely thriving. Last weekend, I had a few friends over for pizza and chill. Nothing wild. My friend Kyle, 27 male, who's been kinda couch surfing lately, shows up and immediately starts roasting my place. Like he walks in and goes, "Damn bro, is this a studio or a jail cell?" Everyone laughs and I brush it off. Then he goes, "Yo, where's your dining table? You just eat off your lap like a raccoon." Again laughs. I joke back like, "Better than eating off someone else's couch, man." And everyone laughs again. But he doesn't stop. He jokes about my sad little gamer chair, my bare fridge, and even says my bathroom looks like it's been through something traumatic. It was funny for like 5 seconds. Then it got annoying. Then it got rude. Fast forward to this week. He texts me saying he got kicked from the place he was staying and asks if he can crash on my couch for a few nights. I literally responded, "I thought my apartment was too sad for you, man." Now he's calling me petty. A few mutuals have said I should let it slide because he's going through a lot. I feel for him, but like, why would I let someone stay in a place they just spent an hour clowning? So yeah, am I the arsehole for not letting my buddy crash at my place after he roasted it in front of everyone? Hell no, not the arsehole. Comes into your place, disrespects you after you invited him round for, pizza, chill, gaming session, whatever it was, and is just fucking rude in your apartment. I got no friends that would do that. And the absolute cheek of it to come in and complain about your bare fridge, your sad little gamer chair, everything else when he's got fucking none of it. And I wouldn't want that in my apartment either. And it's the same as the stories that we used to see a lot of, your mutuals are telling you that he's going through a lot, you should feel sorry for him and let him come in. Well, why can't they do so? We used to see a lot of this stuff with but family, it's family, let him stay with you for a few days. It's like, hell no, you do it. Bloody cheeky bastards. Getting warm. But someone says to OP, not the arsehole. The friends who think you should get over it can offer their places. Absolutely. OP says exactly. If they're so eager to play hostile manager, Kyle's got a whole group chat to crash with. I'll be here in my sad little gamer chair, not getting roasted. Another commenter says, not the arsehole. He's an idiot. Don't bite the hand that feeds. OP says, yeah. Next time I'll make sure to offer 5-star hotel service before getting roasted for not having a dining table. So it was shortly after that OP came in with an update and said, appreciate all the comments. Honestly, didn't expect this to blow up a little, so mini update. Kyle saw the post. Yep, a mutual sent it to him. Apparently the phrase, sad little gamer chair, really tipped him off. He texted me something like, lol, real mature bro, air out your feelings on Reddit, and then left the group chat we're in. So that's fun. One of the same friends who said I was being petty later texted me like, oh yeah, Kyle was out of line. Apparently Kyle's been doing this kind of stuff to other people too, cracking jokes that go too far and acting like it's always just a bit. Which, yeah, exactly. Bonus update, I picked up a folding table from this local guy who had 5 in his basement for some reason. It's ugly, but it does the job. If someone makes another raccoon comment, I'm flipping it dramatically. So yeah, still chilling in my apartment. Still got my IKEA shelves and my $9 fake plant. That's somehow the healthiest thing in my life right now. Kyle's not staying here, but I hope he figures his stuff out. Just not on my couch. Thanks again, Reddit. You'll crack me up and also made me feel way less crazy. Someone says, still gets me that the homeless couch surfer was roasting someone's apartment. Like what? It's the kind of thing that we used to see on Choosing Beggars, and I miss that subreddit. We got to go back there one day just for a little revisit, treat ourselves. The absolute arrogance, the audacity to go into someone's apartment knowing you're couch surfing right now and start to berate everything that they've got. I'm not that much of a petty person, but I would have ripped that guy a new one. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story, which is coming from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit from Busy Inspector 95. It has a mini update on it, nothing major. But the title was interesting. It says, would I be the arsehole if I reject naming my baby after my fiance's dying sister? I'm 30 female, pregnant with our first. My fiance 31 male, and I've been planning to get married for a while now and settled on next year. The reason for this is very sad, and I'm not blaming her at all for this, but his sister has cancer. Every time we planned for something, she would get sicker and we would put the plans on hold. We decided on next year because then we'd be together 10 years and thought it'd be cute to do it on our anniversary. The sister also seemed to start getting better and we were so happy. But as it turns out, she's not getting better. We got a surprise of the lifetime getting the news that we were pregnant. My fiance was so excited he told his parents. They live with a sister in another country. We found out before we got the news how bad it's going for her. But since we found out, his mother and him as well have been dropping hints that we name the baby after his sister. They already gave me some options if it's a boy or if it's a girl. Luckily not naming the child her name directly, but they give variations of it. I don't want to. I haven't liked a single name they've proposed. I don't want to be the bitch now and say no while everyone is waiting for her to pass, but I also want this to stop. We don't even know the damn gender yet, and I don't want my child to be a reminder of an aunt they'll never meet if she passes before my due date. So would I be the arsehole if I don't name my baby after her? And with that, tell them now while they're grieving. Candyland Canada says, not the arsehole, kids shouldn't be born with jobs or burdens. Say, mother-in-law, I appreciate the input, but we're focused on bringing a healthy baby into the world. We'll decide on a name when the time is right for us. You don't need to tell her now or ever that you don't want to use sister-in-law's name or any variation of it. Mother-in-law can find out along with everyone else once you finalize the documentation. Now you have to hope that fiancé doesn't buckle under the pressure. OP thanked that commenter, and then the commenter said again, if you've ever met someone who was named after a dead relative, you may have noticed how it permeates their existence. The kid or the parent will often say upon or soon after meeting them, X was my uncle's name, or we named him after my brother who died young. It's quite sad. OP says, that's also why this is so wild for me. My fiancé was named after a dead uncle that he never met, and he changed it when he turned 18 because he hated it and everyone knew that. And now he wants to do it to his own child. I understand the grief, but I just wish he'll just relax. Baby isn't here for a while. New Beach says no one's an arsehole here except mother-in-law. If your fiancé wants to honor his sister, I think you should seriously discuss ways of doing that. It's his baby too. Middle names are commonly used to honor cherished family or friends. Maybe use one of the names as a middle. I have 2 middle names from relatives I've never met, but I'm honored to have that connection to my past. My first name is my own and what I go by day to day. Another commenter says, not the arsehole. Phrase how you reject it carefully. I will not attempt to erase sister-in-law by giving someone else her name. I want my child to have her own legacy and also be able to share memories of sister-in-law without pressure to live up to a legacy. Or, I know how much fiancé adores his sister. I don't want his child to see that grief and loss every time he says their name. They deserve for their name to be joyous with him, and then he doesn't have to hold back anything when he tells them about his sister. And one more comment from Rockology who says, no one's an arsehole here. Let's start with the clearest part, because out of everyone here, you were the closest to the arsehole line. Your fiancé does have a say in the child's name, and it is perfectly understandable that he would want to honor his sister in this way. This is a situation that requires tact and some gentle and long discussions and might require compromise on your part, OP. If your fiancé is a fan of this idea, it has to be considered at least, and really considered, not knee-jerk reaction denied. I get what you're saying though. Your child will never know this aunt, and I get the impression that you might not feel close to her either. Those are valid feelings too. That's why you're not in the arsehole position here. Yet. You're fine with telling him to ask his parents to lay off the suggestions because it's making the tension worse and making you reactive. You do owe it to your fiancé, and only him, a sincere discussion and consideration of the name. Because picking a name in honor of his sister isn't really about whether the child will know the aunt, but letting the brother honor the sister he lost too early. OP says, I'm all for this. I'll name the child the sister's real name because I love it way more than any of the suggestions I've been given. But my fiancé has been very aggressive about these suggestions. I haven't been given an opinion in naming the baby, and he won't hear me out. He also previously stated he hates family names and even changed his family names to his current one because he hated it. I'm afraid he'll hate the baby name once he's a little bit out of his grief. And I think a couple of those comments were really sensible. I mean, having a proper deep discussion about it and the reasons around it, because, you know, with the grief going on, there's a lot of emotions going on. I mean, seeing your sister in that way, it's got to be causing all sorts of stress. So a gentle and firm conversation about both your feelings is something that needs to happen. I mean, and I think it's one that does need to happen soon. I mean, this is going to sound really rough, but waiting until she passes to have this conversation, I just think that I feel like it'll make things worse, because right now it's, you know, hints and suggestions, but when she does sadly pass away, it'll become about honoring her memory, which I just think it will just make things a lot more difficult. And perhaps a middle name is a compromise on this. I know lots of friends and relatives with middle names that honor other people, but it simply is a discussion that needs to be between the two of you, not anyone else involved, and you need to talk about your feelings and resolve it that way. But OP did give that edit mini update and said, last night mother-in-law called to tell us about sister-in-law's condition. She again mentioned maybe naming baby after sister-in-law before she passes, so sister-in-law can pass at ease. I told her firmly but gently that we should rather focus now on sister-in-law's condition and not baby names. There's enough time for that. Mother-in-law agreed but gave me 2 more names to consider. I said I would, but fiancé is mad at me asking why we can't just indulge his mother in this time of grief. And for me after that, that sort of just changed things for me a bit. I mean, look, I'm really sorry for them, what they're going through and the grief that they're dealing with. But that what mother-in-law said felt really manipulative, mentioning naming the baby after sister-in-law before she passes so sister-in-law can pass at ease. Is the sister-in-law even thinking about this baby's name? It kind of just feels to me that mother-in-law is leading all this. And I think ultimately you just need to be a lot more firmer now. Talk to your fiance and saying, look, I'm not happy about it, because I don't think indulging his mother in this time of grief is going to help anything. In fact, it may just make things worse. That's just my opinion on the matter. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.